So today's video is Google My Business for experts. Now hopefully you've learnt several things over the past few videos that have helped you to grow your Google My Business. Maybe you've seen the importance of posts, maybe make sure you've got the right categories, making sure you add photos on a regular basis, or even adding videos is important. You've also seen that keywords in a description can be helpful, as can be mentioning the cities and towns that you're serving. So you've no doubt already got a reasonable degree of understanding of Google My Business. You've claimed your business and now you're trying to move it forward. And then in some of my other videos you would have seen, like for intermediates, that you would have seen the importance of perhaps making sure reviews get a reply, or making sure that you do use the correct categories. Maybe even adding products and promotions on a basis that's going to improve the presence in your local vicinity. And then with my more advanced areas, I've looked at the importance of voice search and how you can optimize your Google My Business for voice search, and also making sure things like your 360-degree video is uploaded to your Google My Business location too. So all those things have hopefully enhanced and helped grow your Google My Business presence. But today we're going to look at Google My Business for experts. This is a real advanced area that I'm going to go into. And I would say this is probably one of the most dangerous areas of Google My Business. In fact, I'm going to call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Welcome to Zanet Design. Hi, I'm Zane from Zanet Design, and I help businesses grow on the internet. So if you have a business and you've got a location and you've added it to Google My Business, then that'll be one of the areas that we're going to particularly look at today, is how can you improve it, but not just improve it as you've seen in previous videos, but what can you do to really become an expert in this field? What are the real experts doing? In fact, I mentioned that we call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Why? Well, because there are many things you can still do as an expert that are good and will really help it kind of get that final growth, that real push into the three-pack. But on the other hand, there's lots of other things you'll see on the internet, and it can be tricky to know whether they're ugly, whether they're bad. Now, if you get on the wrong side of Google, in other words, the bad, then you'll get suspended. So no one wants that. But what about ugly? Well, that could be more a case of perhaps you watch a video and it's very borderline as to whether it's considered spammy, very borderline whether it's considered black SEO. So we're going to just look at the good things mainly today, the things that we know are fine with Google. But also the bad and the ugly, well, we'll just consider what they are. And then it's really down to you as an individual as to whether you feel it's worth the risk. Because if you get it wrong, then you get the bad when you're suspended. And there are many people that have gone to third-party SEO experts thinking they're going to get a real boost in their rankings and their inquiries for their Google My Business. And then very quickly they get suspended. And then the SEO people have left them. And then they come to someone like myself and they say, I've been suspended and I don't know why. Well, I would say that it's always best to avoid going too close to the edge. Google doesn't want people to spam. It doesn't want even people to manipulate the results. But having said that, when you're an expert, you want to always do something that's going to get you a little bit above everyone else. So we're going to look at the things you can do. We're going to look at things you might want to do. And then we're going to make sure there are things you don't do. So welcome to the good, the bad, and the ugly. So first of all, one of the good things you can do as an expert is now you know how to write posts, and you understand the importance of keywords, you understand the importance of mentioning the local towns and the areas that you serve in your post, and particularly to the front or the fore of that post because there's no actual title. Once you've written some good posts and you've also used some good images, and this is a bit more of an expert thought as well, is that when you add an image, actually put your logo on the image. Make sure that you've even got perhaps the town on that image as well. So if you're serving, say, Oxford area, then put Oxford on there, on the image, because Google can read text on images now, and they also can recognize logos. So that's my suggestion, is when you upload a post, make sure you have those things in place. And also, we mentioned that it's important to load at least one post every 7 days. But my suggestion would be, if you really want to become an expert, then load 2 or 3 posts in a week. And when you load a post, maybe you have an offer, then have the next 2 or 3 posts linked to that offer. So when you can put a link, learn more, at the bottom of your post, well, why not put on there, sort of learn more, and taking it to your contact page on your website, actually take it to that promotion. And then the next one you do the following day is link through to that particular post. And you get this silo effect of a post linking to a post, linking to a post, linking to a post, linking to your product or your offer. And then from that offer, it takes them to the contact page. Now, this is a well-known way of just building up a little bit of extra link juice or a little bit extra authority to then get your website to get greater authority. And at the same time, it just means there are several ways in which people can find that particular offer as well. So there's some good videos on how to do it out there. I don't see any reason why that would be considered spammy. It's using exactly what's there. It's just a certain way of doing it. So maybe it's something I'll cover in a future video. So subscribe and make sure that you don't miss that, because that's probably something I will cover very soon. But that would be one of the suggestions. Nothing wrong with that from what I can see. And hopefully that's one good thing you can do as an expert. So another thing you can do as an expert is to just make sure that you geotag everything you can. So when you talk about a description, you can't geotag text, but you can talk about the town or the city that you're in. When you're adding a image, you can geotag the image. I've got a video there that will show you how to do that in a very simple way. So it just gives it map coordinations. If you take your pictures on a camera, then that will probably already be embedded into the image. But if you're manipulating images, say in Photoshop, and you'll say, for instance, you take a photo of a dish, but it's not actually where your restaurant is, and you want to then upload it, then you might want to have the location of your restaurant on that image. So therefore, you've got this lovely image, you photoshopped it to make sure it looks really good and clear. And then when you upload it to your Google My Business, it has no geotagging because it was done through, say, Photoshop. Well, then you can still add a geotag to that. So there's a video I've got for that, which if you haven't seen it, then make sure you check that out. But also you can geotag videos themselves. So if you're uploading videos, which again is really important, not only to YouTube, but also upload videos to your Google My Business. And as you upload it, again, just in the text and the alt tag, or in the title, in the description, and all the areas that you can fill out on a video, mention your town, your city, or your area, so that it just helps to geolocate where that video was taken. And Google recognizes these things. And even though just adding 1 or 2 videos and images doesn't give you absolute authority in that area, they're all just very small signals that tell Google that that's what you're about. And then if customers are uploading videos too with a similar geotag, then Google goes, okay, this guy is here, he is an authority. And that's when you start to see a real increase in rankings in your area, in your local vicinity. So that's another tip. Another thing to do as an expert is to make sure you've got the app on your phone, and make sure that's enabled. Make sure on your Google My Business you let it know, you allow the fact that you can take quotes, you can do quotes, and that will produce a quote button on your location or your listing. And once you've got that up and running, then just test it out. Get someone to visit your website, to ask them to ask for a quote, or to book a table, or to book a room if it's a hotel or a restaurant. But just get that interaction. Just make sure you understand how it works on your phone, and then give it immediate reply as well. And that just gives the signals to Google that you have the app, that it is working, you do respond quickly to a customer. And that's a great way of then making sure that your service is there available and you can respond quickly. And there's another video I've got as an expert in this area of just making sure that you decide whether you're a service or a shop. So if you're a shop front on a main road, that's one way to really drill into your address, make sure that people can visit the front door of your address. If you're a service, then perhaps from an office or from a home, and you don't want people knocking at the door, then you need to really think about being a service area instead. So again, there's another thing as an expert, you need to decide which one you fall into, and then you set up your business. So I've got a video for that too that you may want to look at. It's called Are You a Service or a Shop? So look out for that one if you haven't already seen it. Now, one of the other things I've done to help experts in this area of Google My Business is to try and help them to learn a bit more from previous years. So you may have seen I've got a video that looks at the lessons I've learned from 2019 for small businesses. And one of the things that I learned, particularly regarding SEO, search engine optimization, is the importance of videos. So look out for that video that I've put up on my on my YouTube channel. And that's speaking particularly about the importance of adding videos either to YouTube, because YouTube is part of Google, and it gives some interesting signals down through to your Google My Business, down through to your website as well. And it's all about building authority amongst all the things really that Google owns. And on top of that, adding videos as well to your Google My Business is a real important signal too. So just add a few of the office, the surrounding areas, and make sure if you can to ask your customers that when they upload photos, see if they can take some videos as well. And a video review is going to be another thing that's going forward. So we often ask for reviews. Just done a recent video that gives you a link to send out to your customers to ask for reviews. But there's nothing better than a video review. So get a video review from them, put it onto YouTube, put it onto your website. And I think also potentially that will happen soon on Google My Business, where you can have video reviews as well. But seeing someone talk about your business in a video is probably the greatest way or signal that you can tell people that you are an authentic company and that you're considered a 5-star business. So that's something to consider in the coming weeks. But lessons from 2019, it's all about video this year. So looking at things you can do as well as an expert, and you'll see in this playlist I've got on the website and on YouTube, that in this playlist as well is the importance of advertising, getting a balance of advertising too. So if you find that your business is just not getting any inquiries at all, then it used to be known as AdWords, but now it's known as Google Ads. But Google Ads, not only do you advertise now on just other websites like you used to in the old days, but you can also advertise in the actual area that you want to be found in your Google My Business area on a map. So for example, if you're a jeweller's and you find that you're on the bottom of, say, the second page of jewellers in your local area. So if someone looks for an Oxford Jewellers and you come up number 20, you can advertise. You could set aside a budget of, say, £20, and then you'll come up as number 1. And the reason why sometimes Google Ads really work well is because they suddenly put you in the forefront. They give you a real boost. And once you're seen, if you've got a good presence, if you've got good ratings, good photos, if you've done everything that we've mentioned in this video so far, then when people see that, even though you're there not by merit, you're there by advert, as people see it, they'll react. Now, one of the things that often SEO people talk about at this time is that it's not so much about the links now to your website and the links to your Google My Business. It's more about the click-through rate as well. So if people start clicking through, looking for directions to your business, they give Google a real signal that you're something that people want to find. If they start clicking through to your website, they click through to your photos, they click through to your videos. All these things are signals to Google. So click-through rate is very much going to be more important than ever when it comes to the search engines and growing in the search engines. And one of the quickest ways you can get an improved click-through rate is to put your business before as many eyes as possible. And if it's up together, people click through. And if they click through, then gradually over time you can take back your advert fee. You can perhaps cut down on the amount of money you invest into your adverts because you're now getting the click-through rates that are promoting you anyway, naturally. So Google Ads and promoting you, giving you a boost is an important way of combining the two if you need a bit of a boost in the first place. So I've got videos in this section in this channel where they'll show you how you can link up your Google Ads account if you've already got one with your Google My Business. There's also one that shows you how to unlink it. So it could be that you just don't want it connected anymore as well. So there's 2 videos there if that's of interest to you. So those are the things that I'd say are good to do for an expert. I don't think there's any harm in any of those things I've mentioned. And there's videos and all those things as well on my YouTube channel that's called Google My Business for Experts, obviously. So follow through those if you haven't done any of those things. And you'll see, again, it kind of solidifies the things you've already done. It improves those things. And I continue to add new things to those videos as and when I find more information. It's going to be useful to do, but probably not for a person who's starting out. So certainly for an expert. Now, there are others out there, and there's some really good guys that do SEO, and they've got some great out-of-the-box ways of doing even more than the things I've mentioned. So I mentioned the good, the bad and the ugly. Now, I wouldn't say these guys are bad, because I think what they're coming out with are really good ideas. On the other hand, I would say they're more ugly in a sense. I'm not talking about looks at all, but what I'm talking about is there is some people would say this is very close to black SEO. Now, black SEO is kind of when people are doing things and they're not right. It's considered breaking the rules and so on. Now, I don't think these guys are actually doing that, but I think they are getting close to the edge. I would never recommend that, only because Google might change things. Google might see a signal of something there, or it could be that the advice they've given is good, but then if you overdo it, then Google will suddenly suspend you. So let's just go the good we've covered. The bad is when you get suspended. And there's two types of suspension, and we cover those in the video as well. And there are a lot of businesses getting suspended because they think they've done what's right, and then they've not managed to tailor it in, or maybe they've just done something and it's just trying to get reinstated after suspension can be so difficult. So don't go down that avenue if you don't know what you're doing. Now, if you do know what you're doing and you want to follow what I would call the ugly, which is like not right or wrong as such, but not what I would recommend, then Chris Palmer does a great job at coming up with some really good ideas. Not something that I do, but I really enjoy following his videos. And also Misner as well has done a few videos this year. And both these guys, along with a few others as well, have got some really good out-of-the-box ways of improving. And you could say they're real experts, but they do go close to the edge of what maybe you are allowed to do or what you're not allowed to do. So some interesting thoughts that they give us to think about. For example, Chris speaks about the importance of click-through rate as well. He sees the same as I do, that SEO is going to be much more about click-through rate in the coming years ahead. And one of the things he's just suggested on one of his recent videos is that you can give your videos a kind of vote every time you get someone to click through. Now, he looks at an example of how you can get click-through rates by going to websites that enable you to have a mobile on a different IP address. And then you could just view your Google My Business. You could get directions to it. You could view it from countries like Korea, India, America. And every time you do that, it's giving a signal to Google. Now, I would say if you do a few of those, it's probably not going to do any harm at all. But if you were to do that relentlessly, Google's probably going to recognize that it's gone too far. So he really thinks outside the box there. He's found some websites where you can get these links, where you can click through, you can view things from various IP addresses. So if you want to try something a bit different, then Chris Palmer comes out with some great ideas there. One of the other things that I heard amongst experts is they talk about you could just put an advert. And rather than put an advert for a job, say, apply for a job with me, rather than just put then your address or your phone number, put your Google My Business listing. So a direct address or a business listing link. And say 100 people apply for the job, you've got 100 people now click through. Well, 100 people clicking through to your Google My Business, again, it's a click-through rate signal to Google that suddenly everyone's finding your business on Google Maps. Again, is it okay? Well, I can't see how it can break any of the rules. I don't see why it's particularly wrong. It's just thinking outside the box. It's giving signals to Google that your business is very much clickable. People are finding it. But how you get them to click through, how you advertise that, maybe on a job, on a forum somewhere, well, how you do that is probably the bit that's a bit more grey area. So again, some good ideas of how to do that if that's the type of thing you want to do. But I'm sure, again, you can see you have to be flexible, you have to be careful on how you go about that. And Brock as well comes out with some interesting ideas. For example, he says about maybe tracing the link that takes you through to Google My Business. I think there's a few links that they kind of get redirected. He works out a way of tracing exactly where the signal is for Google, And then he then embeds that into some videos, sets up a new YouTube channel. And one of the things that we're aware of is when you set up a new channel and you release a new video on YouTube, Google sends all sorts of spiders and bots along. And if they follow then along and they see that your business is here with this location, this geotag, and then with this link that sends these bots through to your Google My Business, well, it's just all about click-through rates in effect, and using bots to click through as well. Now, again, I don't know how that works, and he explains it really well in one of his videos. But again, it's another thing that it's manipulating things. It's a bit ugly. It could even get you suspended. I don't know. But having said that, it's clever and maybe it's fine. And it's one of those things that you'd need to understand before you tried it. But I feel that, again, these are guys that are, in my mind, experts, and they seem to really understand what they're doing. And it's impressive what they do as well. Another thing that Brock does that was interesting is he has various locations on Google Earth as well. And he gets kind of in a whole area. And I'm sure there are other SEO experts that do this too, where you can suddenly allow the Google Earth setup to really make you an authority amongst some of the bigger companies in an area too. Again, I watched the video to see how he did it. It's not something that I'd recommend. It's something that might interest you. If you wanted to see Brock Misner's video, then it's easy to find. He's only done a few, but when he comes out with them, they're certainly interesting and they certainly get you thinking as well. So have a look and see what you think of that. So ultimately, with Chris and with Brock and with others as well out there, they think outside the box. And the purpose of what they're doing really is they're just giving your Google My Business a real boost. So by giving it a boost, in a few, 24, 48 hours time, you'll find that if you're on, say, 20 or 30 in a listing for your area, for your particular category, you might find you're suddenly up to 2 or 3 or top 5. And that, a bit like with Google Ads, it just gives you a boost then to get extra click-through rates. People then suddenly see it as well. Suddenly you're in the prime spot of Google. And if you've got a really good business and if it's really well put together and you've done all the things that are absolutely fine to do that are mentioned in my previous videos, then you'll find that you'll stay there because people now see that you are a genuine article doing the genuine thing. So that's one of the reasons why people perhaps would go to these guys, because they just give you that boost. Whether it's the right thing to do, it's up to you. So finally, we mentioned it's the good, the bad and the ugly. So the good, well, hopefully I'm covering those things for you. The bad, well, we mentioned that suspension comes along if you get it wrong. The ugly, we've mentioned there's perhaps some things there that you might just want to be a bit careful with. But let's just go back to the bad. So what are things that are definitely bad? What are definitely wrong? Well, keyword stuffing is one of the things that will get you suspended. Pretending you have extra locations by putting extra locations into Google My Business when you've only got the one location. Or using the name of the area that you're trying to come top in and putting that as part of your business title. If your business doesn't have it officially in its name, and it's not officially everywhere on your business cards, on your shop front, on your listing with VAT, if you're not genuinely using that name for your business, then don't use it. Because again, people are using it in a way to get an improvement, but in time, Google will do away with those things. So capitalization as well in the titles or in the business name, that's not a good thing. Or just adding, say, several names and just continuously changing it slightly so that it doesn't get seen as a duplicate location or duplicate company. Just, again, it's obvious in time people report these things. They do get found out, and it's not going to look good if you lose those. Or even just fake reviews is another thing that will get you suspended over time. So the point is there are several things that can get you suspended. There's a video that I've got that I'll put above now that will help you to avoid suspension. If you do get suspended, there's 2 types of suspensions. There's the one that's kind of you'll never get back on again. And there's the one where it's like, well, you need to get a few things sorted out first, and then we'll reconsider it. And the difficulty is it takes a manual approval process. It can take weeks, if not months, to get back. And meanwhile, your business is not getting that traffic coming through, or maybe that it's got very limited traffic because of the limitation on your Google My Business entry. So hopefully you'll find that the good, the bad and the ugly are there. You can decide, because when you get into expert mode, it suddenly opens up into a whole new avenue. My advice to you would always be to stick to what you understand and don't go beyond that. Stick to the guidelines of what Google give you and don't go beyond that. Now, if you want to improve as an expert, there's a couple more videos that I'd like you to watch now. So I've put them on the side here for you, and make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't already done so. Follow these 2 videos now, and I'll see you there. Thanks.